Ahoy, folks. Gigi here. Alright, so I'm doing a little random B-side episode here. No promotion, there's no aforemention about this show. I just did this spur of the moment. But there's already a couple of people that want to join. And for those of you that do want to join, yeah, just join the, well, I don't want to say the name of the channel, but you know what channel it is. It's where the other ones are. Actually, you know what? No. Let's do the Ala Snack Bar channel. There you go. Actually, that might be a little difficult. Alright, but I am there. Actually, you know what? No, screw that. I don't want to do Discord. It's too complicated. I'm going to disconnect. If any of you guys in Discord do want to join in on this conversation, you can either Skype in or call in on the call-in number, which I very clearly provided in the Discord channel. So, there you go. Yeah, I don't see why there would be any problem with you calling in. It wouldn't cost you anything. In fact, it would only cost me. So, there you have it. Surprise. Yeah. Hey, what's up, DJ T, Cap, and everybody else. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a pretty short episode because we're going to do a whole episode on this. Probably in either Monday or Tuesday. We're not sure yet. But, you know, we had so earlier tonight, I had a very, very great discussion with Darren, otherwise known as a Dream Master, on the Internet Somalia Discord, and Petite Leon, otherwise known as Rihanna. And, man, I wish we would have recorded that whole thing. We talked for a good couple hours, but we didn't record it. But one thing that I was reminded of, oh boy, here we go. My iPod's messing up again. But one thing that's really been blowing my mind, hey Kat, is this whole thing, all of these things about not only the moon, you know, the Apollo missions, but also what NASA puts out every year with the budget that they are giving. So tonight we're going to be talking about obviously the Apollo missions, all of the bullshit going on around the moon, especially with China being there right now, and they're still even they're not taking a photo of the Earth? Really? You can't take a photo of something? That's like me standing in New York back before 9/11 and me trying to say, oh, I can't take a picture of the tower because of what? Why not? Why can't you take a picture of it? Something's going on here. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit fucky, but there definitely is something going on here. So, but first, let me pull up, yeah, I kind of messed up this thing here. Okay, now we're ready to go. All right. So, first thing is first. So, now I've been trying to get a hold of Bart Seibel. If you don't know who Bart Seibel is, he made several documentaries. The most two notable is the first one was Astronauts Gone Wild, which is basically, to sum it up, Bart, and let's get this out of the way. Yeah, Bart Seibel's kind of, you know, a little bit out there, right? But nonetheless, he figured out a way and organized interviews with pretty much any astronaut that's ever been to the moon. And in all of these interviews, he asks them very plainly to just put your hand on the Bible and swear that you went to the moon. First of all, none of them agreed to that. Not a single one. And Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not specifically a Christian either, but, why I would put my hand on the Bible if I went to the moon, even if I didn't believe it, wouldn't you? Right? But none of these astronauts did it. In fact, Buzz Aldrin quite literally punched him in the face when he asked him that. What's his name? Edgar. No, not that guy. I don't know. Another guy. Not only did he quite literally kicked him in the ass, he actually kicked him in the ass and told him to get out of there. And little did he know that they still had a clip-on mic on his shirt. So and to be perfectly fair, Bart Seibel was very polite and very, very civic. When he left, as soon as, the astronaut realized what's going on, he said, okay, yeah, we'll leave. No problem. Didn't put up any fight. He was packing up his gear, and then this guy came and kicked him in the ass, and literally, and as they were leaving, his son was also had a clipped on microphone, and as they were leaving, and this is kind of one of the biggest things here, is he says, and I quote, "Should we call the CIA and have them whacked?" Yeah, they actually said that. So wait a minute. If this guy, and to put this into context, the footage he showed them live on the interview was a reel of footage that they got from Houston, from NASA, right? It's a reel that was never supposed to be released, which I can only imagine that the only way it got released with Bart Seibel asking for footage is somebody from NASA wanted this to get out, because this was highly restricted, top secret, real footage, yet somehow they ended up giving it to Bart Seibel, right? So he put it in his documentary, which is the other one, which is A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. Now, what you're going to see in this footage, and you can look it up, the documentary is on YouTube. Once again, it's called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And what you see is Bart, Neil Armstrong, and Collins all in the shuttle, not anywhere near the moon. They are in near Earth orbit. Not even halfway to the moon, way before the Van Allen belt. And what you see in the footage is them faking a shot of the Earth from the shuttle. And the way they did this, and I'm surprised not a lot of people know about this. This is pretty big stuff here. It basically debunks the whole... If there's any question that anybody went to the moon, this is the reason why they didn't, is because they faked this shot. And how they did it is they turned out all of the lights on the shuttle in near Earth orbit, and they put the camera on the backside, and they used one of the circular windows to essentially frame a portion of the Earth. Obviously, they weren't far enough away to get the whole Earth in one shot, so they faked it. What they did is they used the circular window to cut out part of the Earth to make it look like one round Earth, right? But the part of the reel that was not deleted was the part where they said cut, and then the lights came on, and then it becomes very clear that they actually used the window to cut the Earth. And there's other abstractions in front of the video as well. And they specifically talk about, I'm paraphrasing here, but did that look like the Earth? Did that work? Was that good enough? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so wait a minute. If you guys really went to the moon, why the fuck are you guys pretending and making these fake shots of the moon, not even halfway towards the moon. Not to mention, in 1992, a good couple of 20 plus years later, NASA admits that they don't understand how to get people beyond the Van Allen belt without killing them. Well, wait a minute. You said you went there back in 72, 71, 69, all of the Apollo missions. Now you're telling us in 92 that you can't, we still don't know how to get there? Really? Are you sure? Something doesn't quite add up here. And then just look into all that. Definitely watch both of Bart Seibel's documentaries. Astronauts Gone Wild was the first one. It's okay. I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, definitely see it. But the one that you really want to see is A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. Which, by the way, if anybody, me and both of our producers, we've been trying to get a hold of Bart for about a year now. He hasn't done any public interviews. He hasn't made any appearances. He's essentially vanished since, I want to say I think it was 2014. The last time he ever did a show was, it was on Faded Black with Jimmy Church back late 2014, I want to say. And it was a great interview, but it's kind of weird that he hasn't made a single public appearance in the last 4.5 years, or 5 years, I guess you can kind of say now. And also the fact that he's not responding to any of us. I don't understand why that is. I'm sure he's gotten some pressure from somebody. Speaking of, Edgar Mitchell and his son, like I was talking about earlier, they threatened to sue him. And if you watch in the video, Bart encouraged it. And that was kind of, maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But there's some certain fuckery going on around this situation. And then here's the other thing. Hold on 1 second. Let me light this incense here. All right, there we go. Yeah, right, Kat? Yeah, no, that was a very good show. And I highly encourage anybody to go back and just go on YouTube and type in Fade to Black Bart Seibel, Sibrel, and listen to that interview. He really, there's no two questions about all the information he says. There's, here's the thing. We either didn't go to the moon, ever, or we did go to the moon using a completely different set of possibly Nikola Tesla sort of technology. Nothing like the fucking shuttles that they make it look like, and here's the other thing about the shuttles. Every time they launch, they don't go straight up. They go up, and then they curve over, and then they curve under. They basically just circle the Earth. It never goes straight up. So why would anyone believe that they actually went up? Especially when NASA announces 20 years later that they don't understand to that point how to even get up past the Van Allen belt, which, by the way, if you don't know what the Van Allen belt is, it is a couple of 100,000 miles wide area of intense radiation that we know scientifically and mathematically today that the shuttles back in the 70s they would have burnt into a crisp if they went through that, right? But apparently they did. That's what they told us. Not to mention all of the fake photos, all of the fake footage. I mean, if you don't believe me, just look it up. It's so beyond, like, I am so pissed off right now that, well, I've always been pissed off about this, but it really is unbelievable that most people actually think that those Apollo missions actually went to the moon. It's scientifically, mathematically, realistically, absolutely impossible. You cannot do that. And by the way, if you could, here's the other thing. There's never been a single photo ever taken of the Earth in whole. Really? Really? Are you sure you can't do that? Because if you're at the moon, according to the mathematics, according to the science, you're way in the view of able to capture the whole Earth. Yet, nobody's ever done it. Why not? Well, there's an interview with Robert, what's his name? You could probably find, I forget his name. You can probably find him quicker if you go on Google, type in the Blue Marble guy, and read the interview. There is there's a couple of video interviews, but they're not, they cut a lot of it out. If you read the actual interview from the script, he specifically says, and I quote, "Yes, it is photoshopped, but it has to be." Now, when he says that, he's talking about every single image that that NASA has put out. Yes, Kat, NASA has put out images of the whole Earth. There's about 12 of them. They've put out 12 images. But the guy who's responsible for producing those images admits in the interview, obviously unknowingly of what kind of revelation what he's saying would imply. What he said was, yeah, no, we can't take a whole picture of the Earth. We have to use Photoshop. And basically, it's a... what do you call it? It's a composite image. So wait a minute. By the way, I'm just assuming you understand what a composite image is. Basically, what a composite image is not a whole image. It's a bunch of separate little images kind of put together, and they also, especially if you look at the latest images provided by NASA, there are copies of clouds. And by copies, I mean literally copy and pasted all over the fucking globe. Are you sure? Are you sure that there's that many clouds that look exactly the same, or are you really copy and pasting them? And he answers that question. And once again, he says, yeah, it's photoshopped, but it has to be. Wait a minute. Why the fuck does it have to be photoshopped? If you guys really went to the moon and you were that far away, first of all, why are you faking the fucking shots from near-Earth orbit with Buzz and Aldrin and Collins? Second of all, why can't you just take a photo? We know you had cameras up there. Really? You can't take a fucking photo? And now China's up there right now at this very fucking minute on the dark side of the moon. And guess what? They're not taking a photo of the Earth either. Why not? I don't know. Obviously the Earth is real. We're here, right? We exist here. This is a real place. But I'm really wondering, after 50 plus fucking years of traveling in space, not one single snapshot of the Earth has ever been taken. Is it just me, or does that not smell like a bunch of fucking bullshit? Seriously, think about that. Chew on this for a little bit. And I've got a couple of links for you that I will probably share after this broadcast ends. I will put it in the chat room because I don't have time to put that out there right now. But seriously, folks, you got to think about this shit. What's going on here? Not to mention the moon First of all, like we talked about on, I believe, I think it was last night's show, right? So when it comes to the orbit of the moon, sorry, let me take a drink of a glass of water here. I've never done a whole show by myself. Usually I get a little break to take some water. So let me get on with this for a second. Okay. So here's the other thing about the moon. So here's the thing. Obviously we know the Earth orbits, right? It's rotating. Well, first of all, the Earth is rotating, and then on top of that, it's orbiting the sun. So really, that is two different types of rotations. It's rotating in one way as it's also rotating in another way. And then you have the moon, which, what we're told, also spins in a rotation and orbits the Earth. So that's also two rotations. Two orbits, I guess you could say. So the Earth is spinning and orbiting. The moon is spinning and orbiting the Earth. Do you realize how impossible that is? First of all, there are no other moons in our solar system or anywhere that we've ever found that do this. Second of all, to put this in perspective, like I said on last night's show, you know how you can flick a quarter, right? Just flick a quarter on the table and it spins around, and then, you know, not only does it spin around, but it kind of orbits too, right? When you do it. So imagine flicking one quarter on the table, and then you flick a second quarter on the table, and let's just say by some miracle of a how, that quarter is spinning and orbiting around the other quarter that is also spinning and orbiting around the sun. Do you understand how impossible it would be that the same side of the moon quarter has always, for thousands of years, for recorded history as far as we know, has always faced the same side of the Earth quarter? Not even a millimeter of difference. And like Darren very well pointed out on last night's show, it's what we call tidal lock, which means, you know, it's not like, yeah, it kind of orbits, but every few thousand years it kind of shifts a couple of centimeters. No, not even a millimeter of difference over the last thousands of years that this has been happening. This is what scientists and mathematicians call scientifically impossible. In fact, multiple mathematicians and scientists have, the last quote I remember reading was, this would be 1 in 100 trillionth chance of being possible. And according to science, that qualifies as scientifically impossible. Not to mention that as far away as they say that the sun is from the Earth, the moon, as close as it is to the Earth, just so fucking happens to be the same exact fucking circumference as the sun. So, in other words, when the sun goes in front of the, or rather, when the moon goes in front of the sun, it's the exact same circumference, which is what gives us, obviously, our eclipses. Is that, are you sure? Are you sure that's not just a random coincidence? Or does this seem like some kind of design? Especially when you encounter everything, you know, when you think about everything I've just talked about with the moon and everything. Like, really? Really? And there's no other moon. First of all, the Earth only has one moon. Most other planets have at least 3 moons, if not 6 or 7 or 8. None of them rotate at the specific angle, the specific same side, always facing the planet angle. None of them do that. Also, none of them mimic the same size as the sun from their position or from their relative planet's position. So you really, really got to think about this. Seriously. Just think about this. Listen to what I said. Just chew on it. That's it. That's basically all I had to say. And then the other thing was, yeah, is anybody out there, has anybody heard from Bart in the last 5 years? Because we've been really trying to get him on the show. And he's apparently he's taken a bow from publicity, and and that just adds on top of everything I've just said. That just adds on top of all of the mystery. The guy that, well, I mean, a lot of people pointed out a lot of the shit that I've explained here, but Bart was definitely an integral part of all of this information. So, if anybody knows how to get a hold of him, I mean, we've gotten a hold of him, he just hasn't gotten back. But if anybody has a better way, email me at gg@shifthappenspodcast.com. Again, that's just quite literally GG, 2 G's in a row, at shifthappenspodcast.com. And let me know if you know how to get a hold of this guy. I just find it very very strange, because that show he did, which Kat mentioned in the audience here, in the chat room rather, that she heard, it was a pretty, you can't really question anything he said. He had a bunch of facts, a bunch of science, and there's really no, nobody's really actually debated him on those points. But he disappeared. He's gone. He hasn't been anywhere. None of the I've been going, listen folks, I go to every major conference every single year for the last about 4 or 5 years, since 2015 at least. So what is that, 4 years? And never seen this guy. He's never been on a show ever since then. So, and also, more specifically, he's never been on Jimmy's show ever since then, which I remember specifically back then, Jimmy was really excited to have him on the show. So something happened there. For some reason, he's not talking. His website hasn't been updated in years. This guy just kind of disappeared. And he really has so much information that I'm just barely, touching the tip of on this whole GG Rant'isode here. So, yeah, I don't know. If you guys know where he is, you know how to contact him, please let us know. And other than that, we take another little sip of water here. I think that's about it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I have not been reading the chat room most of this whole time. Let me see. Yeah, so, like Kat's saying, like, yeah, there's a pic of the whole Earth. But if you, like I said, the interview with the guy, just look up the Blue Marble NASA guy, and his name will pop right up, and the interview will pop right up. Whatever picture you're talking about, he is the guy that produced that picture. He has produced all of NASA's pictures since the 90s. The only one that he didn't produce was the one back in the 70s, which was just blatantly bullshit. I mean, just blatantly bullshit. And what you will notice, there's about 12 or 13 different photos released by NASA. Each and every one of them, the continents are completely different sizes. The ratios do not make sense at all. These are clearly animations. I mean, it's not even CGI quality. I mean, this is child's play. So what's going on here? Why the fuck can't you take a goddamn picture of the planet? All of these things are, just like he said, these are composite images. That's what NASA puts out. And let's not forget, what's NASA budget? I'm just going to guess on the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around $320 billion. Am I right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. It's somewhere around there. It's pretty fucking crazy. And all NASA has ever done has produced less than CGI quality images. And so to put that into perspective, let's say it's 350 billion. Well, let's say they spent 50 million on a moon mission, right? Well, that still leaves $345 billion. Do you really think they're spending all of that money going to space and pulling nothing back? Not to mention all of the fake space rocks. What was the president over there, or the prime minister, rather, of, was it Sweden or Holland or Norway, something like that, one of those countries. So our country gave them a piece of space rock as a present, and it was defined under the United Nations international laws that it was illegal to crack that case and expose that space rock onto the Earth's atmosphere because they were afraid of the effects it might have had, right? Well, guess what? That president, just like myself, he didn't buy their fucking bullshit anyway, and he cracked that case and he had it examined. And guess what? It was petrified wood. It wasn't even a fucking space rock. So what the fuck? Why are you claiming that you have space rock? Why would you go through all of that effort when it's really petrified wood, and then convince the UN to actually protect the revelatory aspect of this by having some laws put across about it, where it was the most international, the biggest international law that you could break at the time? But guess what? That guy never got charged. You know why? Because he proved it wasn't a fucking space rock. It was a fucking petrified piece of wood. So why the fuck are they sending these fake space rocks? Why the fuck do we not have a photo of the planet? Why the fuck are there no... not to mention, I didn't even mention all of the bullshit footage and photos that from the original Apollo missions, which we know scientifically today, all of that footage would have been melted away during their pass-through back through the Van Allen belt, just like a microwave would cook a piece of cheese into smithereens. There is no fucking possible way that footage got to have gotten passed from that. So, once again, this is my opinion, and I do have to say, hold on. I do have to say that none of this, this is all my opinion only and exclusively. This has nothing to do with the French FM. They do not condone this show. This is a separate show, which is B-Sides and Rarities. So please, don't blame anybody for these opinions but me. And if you guys really want to see some shit about this, I will post a link. This is just concerning the moon. I'm going to post this link right here in a couple of moments. Shit, hold on one second. Oh, for fuck. So Darren posted a link during our last show, and it really only has to do with the moon, but is pretty much most of what I talked about. So I will post that right here. By the way, if anybody wants to call in, if anybody wants to talk about this, the call-in number is 928-485-4856. Again, that's 928-485-4856. I hope I can find this link because it's actually really good. Let me see. Give me a second, folks. Okay. Here we go. This is going to take forever. Oh, no. I know where he posted it. Okay. Once again, obviously, this is not a network sanctioned show, so all of this awkward silence rather, is acceptable because there's no rules here. So I do apologize about the unprofessionalism of this whole show, but I just had to get all this off my chest, and I am not going to leave you guys without this link. If my computer, you know what's really weird, actually? My computer has been acting up all day. Not only my computer, my phone, a very unusual amount of craziness going on here, and wow, I can't even find I mean, what the hell? Hold on. This is kind of crazy. This is pretty crazy. Really? The whole conversation thread that we just started yesterday on Skype is not here anymore? Interesting. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to end this show until I find this link because I want to share it to you guys. I know he put it out on Twitter, so let's try this. Wow, this is really... Listen, folks, I've been doing radio for 3 years. I've never quite seen something like this. This is pretty... I don't know what to say about this. I mean, this is insane. He posted this link on multiple things. Okay, it has to be right here. Huh. Well, it's not that one. Not that one. Wow. It's gone. What a coincidence. Right when I start to talk about this, the link that this is all based on is gone. That is pretty fucking crazy. Well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I guess the link decided to not exist anymore. He shared it to me on Twitter, through text, and through Skype. The text link is no longer a functioning link. The Twitter link is not there. And the Skype chat that he sent it through, that whole chat room has been deleted. So... And I'm not making this up, folks. This is, I don't know what to say about this. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm going to try, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call Darren right now. And hopefully he's awake because I know he has the link. So if nothing else, hey, what's up, Dan? If nothing else, he might be able to provide the link. Wow, this is really strange. Okay, all right, I'm calling him right now. Let's see what happens. Well, he might kind of probably be asleep, but maybe not. Let's see. Wow, I can't believe. Ah, here it is. I found it. I think if it'll let me get to it. Here it is, right here. All right. So I've got the link. I'm going to copy it, bing, bam, boom, and putting it into Spreaker chat right now. I can't believe how hard that was to find, but bam. There you go. Now that video that probably discusses about 38% of what I talked about. And before I go, I might as well go ahead and show you the link for a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. Which, wait, oh my God, don't tell me they took this down too. You've got to be shitting me. Oh, no, here it is. Okay. 1 second, folks. There we go. All right, so here it is. Once again, I'm going to copy the link and paste it into the Spreaker chat, which, by the way, if you're not in Spreaker, you're obviously not going to get these links. So all I can say is, get on Spreaker and get more learned. Now, one thing I will say about the documentary of, yes, we still are live, Daryl, and you can call in if you want. Feel free to do that. Or just Skype me, rather. I know you've got me on Skype. No, this is not a commercial. I'm just talking. But so that last link, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. I will admit that the production quality was not very good. If I were producing it, I would have, produced it a lot better. But once you get past the first 10 or 20 minutes, especially once you see that that's the documentary where they have the reel of footage that shows Neil and Buzz and Collins faking the moonshot from near Earth orbit. Once you see that, that will totally change your mind about everything you think you know, about everything that you think and that we've been told that we've done in space. It's that fucking simple. It's just, they faked it. So, and that's the question. Why would they fake it? If they're really going to the moon, why are they faking the shot using the window to cut off the rest of the Earth that they weren't far away enough from to include in the picture, and turning off the lights in the shuttle? And then after the scene was cut, they specifically, you can hear them talking about, did that work? Was that good enough? Did that look real enough? Why are you saying that? If you're really far away enough to take a fucking photo of the Earth, why do you have to fake it? That's my point. That's it. There you go. Yeah, if anybody wants to call in, I'll stay on here for a few minutes. By the way, thanks everybody for tuning in on such not only short notice, but quite literally no notice. I just launched this thing, and I didn't really expect anybody to show up, so thanks to all you guys. But yeah, definitely go check out those links. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you got to look into this shit, folks. I mean, there's yeah, and Kat does bring up a good point, which is, yeah, the secret space program, right? I'm almost positive that the secret, space program exists. But here's the thing, though. The last time NASA did anything significant, it wasn't 72. That's weird. It won't let me merge. Okay, so we do have a caller, but I'm going to have to, actually, no, I guess I can just do this, right? All right. Hey, what's up, Daryl? Oh, whoops. I have you turned down. Sorry. All right. Hey.
That's the show.
Do this, right?
Hey,
I'll turn this. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to mention if anyone wants to play that video that you just played, there's a setting on YouTube where you could make it go twice as fast, and you could just play the subtitles. So you could read what's going on while we're listening to you, and we can watch it as well in twice the speed. You just go to settings and look at the speed. It says normal, and then you could go either slower by, 1.5, 1.75, or faster, 1.5, 1.75, or two times as fast. And then you could just do the subtitles. They're usually off. You put them on English auto translate, and it'll give you the what's being, the transcript, as well as you could watch the video in twice the speed.
Yeah.
While we're listening to you. Just if you want to listen and watch the show at the same time and listen to you.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that reminds me of two other things that anybody that's interested in what I'm saying right now, or this whole show, every single one of you should check this out. First of all,
I'm watching it now.
If you look at the Apollo, any of the Apollo mission footage where they have, where it's filming them walking on the moon, they look like they're hopping around and less gravity, right? But here's the thing. If you fast forward it by 50% exactly, it looks like they're walking on the Earth. So very clearly, the footage was retracted 50% to make it look like it was all floaty and bouncy. But,
interesting. I'm trying to fast forward to the footage of them on the moon. I don't know.
Oh, and that's
1 minute.
That's very easy to look up. Just type in Apollo mission double speed or...
Wait, I'm looking at the video you're doing right now. Like the video you just gave us the link to?
Yeah, no, that's not in that link. In fact, I will pull up the link right now, actually.
Cool.
But another thing...
What?
Well, hold on. Yeah.
Thing up there that there's letters on the moon's surface. There's like the letter F and... What?
Yeah, no, there's
There's a cross?
I mean, here's the thing. There are so many goddamn fucking conflicting factors about what happened not only on the way to the moon, on the moon, and on the way back, and what photos they took. And it's been proven beyond any reason of a doubt, a lot of the photos that they used on, back in the 70s, on the cover of Time magazine and whatever, they were all fake photos in the studio. And in fact, there was one time, I don't remember if it was MSNBC or if it was NBC or who it was, but they were supposed to do a live feed from the space station, but the prop fake crew wasn't ready for the broadcast, so they cut to their broadcast, and it clearly shows a miniature model of the space station behind a green screen that they were obviously planning to use to fake the actual shot that they were trying to put on the air. That right there, if you have any doubt about anything about the moon and the Apollo missions, that solves everything right there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hopefully I can find the links. Once again, we are going to talk about this in another B-side episode in a few days from now.
The flag blowing in the wind. The flag blowing in the wind. Why was it blowing?
Oh, yeah. That's another thing, right? I mean, there's so much other bullshit going on that I forgot to even mention that.
Well, I'll tell you, there was...
Yeah,
there was one video...
The flag is blowing. That's right. The flag is blowing. Well, wait a minute. If there's no, if there's no
Wind.
atmosphere, then how the fuck is that flag blowing? And they
Right.
tried to explain it away with multiple excuses, like, well, Buzz Aldrin sneezed and it blew it away. Well, yeah, but he has a helmet on, so how does his
The one
sneeze?
thing there was one video I did see though, why we never went back to the moon, and it showed. I'll tell you, I could see an ET in like next to one of the astronauts. I can't tell you which one. Literally, like mimicking every move that the astronaut was making, and you could barely see the ET because it's kind of like a translucent kind of like quality. But there was definitely something that was like sitting pretty much right next to I think it was Buzz, mimicking him, like crossing his feet and like sitting down next to him, like you could see an entity next to him. And I have to find that video because I could point it out. Like if nobody noticed it, it would be something you could overlook easily because you'd have to really be paying like very close attention to every detail. Boy, the moon looks messed up.
Says it is.
I wondered. You gotta wonder.
Yeah, no, you really have to. And
So another one. Did you see the one that they had? Somebody posted it on maybe on the Independent Research Society that they were near a Stonehenge that was on the moon. Another shot that was released. So either they were on the moon and there was too much weird shit there that they didn't want to show that was airbrushed out, but they were like there was a Stonehenge, like a bunch of Stonehenges right there.
well, that's one thing that I think most of the people I know in this industry would agree on is there are structures on the moon. That's for sure. But that's kind of a completely different topic, whether we went to the moon or not. Now, I'm honestly I'm in the opinion of I think we have been there, but it wasn't by strapping humans onto firecrackers and launching them off into space like we were told. I think there was some much better technology used.
Right.
But one thing that is for sure is that all of the footage, all of the photos are absolutely fake. If you ask any, I mean, it's kind of hard today because everybody knows about it, but if you actually ask a lighting specialist or a photo specialist or a video specialist, which has been done countless times over the last couple of decades, and they show them that footage, they will tell you, like, oh yeah, first of all, there's multiple sources of light. How are there multiple sources of light? There's only one sun, right? So right then and there, and they just disprove the whole thing away all the way around. And then the main thing that really bothers me is that to this day, even the heads of people at NASA say, yeah, we can't take a photo of the Earth. Why not? Apparently you're going far enough away, right? So why can't you just take a photo? That's like me saying, I'm I'm down on, ground level next to Mount Everest, but for some reason I can't take a photo of the mountain because it doesn't look good. Like what's the reason? Why can't you take a photo of the Earth? Like
It looks like the Earth is not as round. I think they just didn't want to show the Earth is not round in these pictures. It's kind of funny shaped.
yeah, they're obviously even Neil deGrasse Tyson admits that the Earth is more of a pear shape
Yeah, it
rather
doesn't
than
look round. It's
an oval
not
shape.
perfectly round.
But either way, who cares? Let's
Right.
just see it. Let's see
Yeah,
it.
well,
Let us see it. Take a photo of it. Let
This
us
other
fucking
stuff-
see it.
There's other stuff that there's. See, they couldn't show. They couldn't show a lot because there was a lot of other stuff in the sky that they weren't anticipating. I think they got such an amazing surprise when they got up there. They were not expecting to see anything up there. And
Well, here's
it-
the thing. Now,
they-
obviously, it's pretty obvious when you look into this that we don't have the technology to get people and humans through the Van Allen belt. But that's not to say that we haven't sent rovers to the moon. Just like, for example, we've got a rover on the moon right now, which although is arguably very debatable, but let's just assume that's true. And they also do have rovers, you know, on the moon. And there's, I mean, the photos that come back are just.
And they destroyed most of them. They lost them. I mean, what? Come on, the most important event of our
Good
the century?
point. That's another thing. Not only the photos, all of the telemetry data, all of the records of this event ever happening, all of the Apollo missions, all of the scientific measurements, all of the telemetry data, it's all gone? Really?
Yeah.
It's all deleted? The greatest human accomplishment in human history is all deleted? Are you sure? Because we still have footage of, Magic Johnson and what's his name from the Celtics. We still have that footage, right? But we don't have the fucking footage. We don't have the telemetry data of the single greatest accomplishment of mankind. Not to mention, Russia was light years ahead of anything we were doing in space until all of a sudden we claimed that we went to the moon. Really? Are you sure? Because I'm not.
There's something about the Van Allen belt that I think we fucked up the Van Allen belt. We fucked it up. There's something we did that made I don't think the Van Allen belt was in question then, but we did something that blew the Allen belt. I read this somewhere.
No. I'm gonna have to. Maybe, right?
I think
but here's
created the Van Allen belt.
Here's what me and everybody I know would say to that is, what happened is, I think, once Kennedy announced that we were going to go to the moon, obviously Operation Paperclip, we got the Nazi rocket scientists in, and everybody was trying to figure out how to go there, right? And I think at the time, they really did think that they could do it until several years into the making, they realized, oh shit, we can't get past this Van Allen belt. What the fuck are we going to do? And so what the fuck they did was fake the whole fucking thing and make it look like we did go there because think about it. The Russians put the first animal in space. They put the first person in space. They put the first satellite in space. They did everything first. And then all of a sudden, America, who has never done any of those things, all of a sudden put 2 people on the moon? Really? They couldn't even put an animal in space, yet they can put 2 people on the fucking moon? Are you sure? I'm not sure. And when you look at all the footage is fake. And you know what? There's a really good, a very good interview, actually, with Joe Rogan. Now, this was back, bear with me, folks. This was back in 2010, 2011, back before he had his podcast, back before he was the big guy that he is now. He went on... I think it was Opie and Anthony, right? And you can look it up. Look up Joe Rogan, Apollo mission or moon's hoax or whatever. And he is probably a little bit more well-versed in this than even I am. But what's interesting is once his podcast became very popular, all of a sudden... he changed his tune and he stopped talking about it. And and anytime somebody brings it up, like what's his name from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu? How do I not remember his name? Fuck.
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
really
I'll remember it in a little bit. But
Moonlight footage was fake. There's a video. Joe Rogan. Look how. Okay, wait.
yeah, if you just look up Joe Rogan,
You got
um,
the moon landing footage was faked. Skip the ad. Here we go. It's 15 minutes long. I'll share it in. Where am I sharing it to? In Spreaker. Okay.
yeah,
Hold on.
just put it in Spreaker. But
Okay. I'm going to show you.
Jesus
This is a
Christ,
top.
I can't
Here we
believe I don't remember. All right, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember his name in just one
This is
second.
Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan thing is the one I just posted.
How old is that? Oh, Eddie Bravo. That's who I'm talking about.
I just found it. Wait.
Yeah.
How old is this?
Listen
It's
to
got
Eddie Bravo.
million
Now,
hits.
don't get me wrong. Eddie Bravo
Published in February
has
of a year
has a
ago.
lot of pretty wild ideas. I will give you that. But when it comes to the moon, him and Joe, if you now I've been following the comedy scene for like 15 years. So and Eddie and Joe have been friends for like 20 years. Back about 10 and 15 years ago, they both had the same opinions about the moon landings. But then all of a sudden, which Alex Jones actually publicly claimed, by the way, we all know Alex Jones. We know how crazy it is.
Right.
Obviously, we all get that. But he did specifically say that Joe was he was approached and said, "Hey, listen, you got to stop talking about all this shit and get back to mainstream shit." And then on top of that, Joe did a show for the what was it? The Discovery Channel, I think
Right.
it was. He did a show with Duncan Trussell was his kind of co-host, I guess you could say, and they explored a bunch of mysteries. And on one of the episodes, he straight up said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but this is exactly what he said. He said, "Listen, the CIA has never approached me to stop talking about anything, but if they do want to approach me, please talk to me now. I won't tell my wife. I won't tell anybody. I will swear it to secrecy." And guess what? As soon as that episode aired, all of the sudden, he stopped talking about the moon, and he stopped talking about everything. So you really got to think about that. Hollywood is quite a bit stranger than it seems if you've never been involved with it, or even if you've never even just lived in the area. Like there's some weird shit going on in there.
You want to save your skin, you know? He was right. He doesn't want to destroy his life. I don't blame him.
And that kind of proves the point is the
And
the
shut up.
fact that after he made that statement, all of a sudden he
shuts
stopped being the conspiracy guy. Is that really a coincidence, or is that more than that?
Very obvious, very obvious.
Right. It honestly, it's very fucking obvious. And
Well, I think he knew it was happening, and he probably had that. He probably had that warning.
yeah.
He
Oh
just-
no.
He just put it on the air to protect his skin. He
Yeah,
probably
that-
had a warning.
That definitely was not his first,
His
that
cutest
that was
thing.
not his first phone call about that. That was not his first encounter with that. That was just one time that was documented on TV
That
that
was his,
everybody can see.
That was
and-
after he was warned.
Yeah.
Probably.
He was definitely warned because, let's face it, Joe Rogan, first of all, I love Joe Rogan. He's one of my favorite people on the planet, not to mention Joey Diaz, Duncan Trussell, Eddie Bravo, Brian Redband, all of the regulars on the show. I love those guys. They are fucking awesome. They radiate positive frequencies all the time. They are the best people ever. But at the same time, they got a little bit too far, and they got told to shut up, is basically what happened. And you can if you don't believe it, just go back and watch that episode of his show on the Discovery Channel, and then time that against the point where he all of the sudden decided to stop talking about the moon landings which happened directly after that show where he said, if the CIA wants me to shut up, come to me right now. I won't tell a soul. Let me know what's happening. I won't tell anybody. The timing is absolutely beyond coincidence. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if you actually look at it for yourself and you saw it how I saw it, and you can still see it how I did see it, you just have to go back on YouTube and look up all of the links. Dan James just said something here. He says, Richard Dolan's been putting the calls out to Joe Rogan to ask him on the show. Yeah, well, to answer you, Dan James, Richard Dolan will never be on Joe Rogan's show, and that's because of everything I just said for the last, 10 minutes. He has agreed to not go there. And if Richard Dolan comes on his show, he's going to tempt him to go there. So that's never going to happen. And mark my words. I mean, I guarantee you, even if his show goes on for 10 years, Richard Dolan is never going to be on that show. And that is exactly why. The last person that was ever on his show that was anywhere near the status of this industry was Dr. Stephen Greer. And that was well before he put out his last documentary, which was help me out here, Daryl. What was it called? What was it? Unexplained.
Stephen Greer's.
Yeah, Stephen Greer's last movie.
I've been watching Stephen Greer. Let me look it up. I'll look it up for you. I was just listening to. I think it was Steve. Not sure if it was Grant Cameron I was listening to. He was on with David Wilcock. Just listening to some amazing information about him working on a portal, like total whistleblowing. Working on a portal. Did you hear this one?
Yeah, I did hear that. Yes, I did. Huh? But before we get to that, no. Not okay. Serious Cat. He put out a new one since then, and it's called Unacknowledged. And in fact, it's on Netflix right now. You can watch it on Netflix, and I highly recommend.
Here it is. Unacknowledged, the film, Serious Disclosure.
Yeah,
that's right. The greatest secret in human history, following the most successful crowdfunded documentary. They're producing Unacknowledged, an expose of the greatest secret in human history.
And it really is.
I've been watching that. It's been in pieces. I've been watching it.
Well, it's all in one piece on Netflix. So if you go to Netflix, look up Unacknowledged, and man, let me I've got to give, because like Kat just mentioned in the chat room, Sirius, that documentary was not very well. It was not very well. The information was not very well backed up. Anybody could dispute anything in the documentary. Same thing with all of his documentaries before. But his newest one, Unacknowledged, good luck disputing anything he says. Everything from the documents from the Freedom of Information Act to the witnesses that he has on the documentary. I mean, good fucking luck disputing anything that's said in that documentary. And I
like Stephen Greer. I think he's totally on the money. Everything he's been researching,
And there's a lot of people that like Jimmy said a year ago, Unacknowledged was good, but it was nothing we didn't know. But that's the key, is that we didn't know. Obviously, we knew this, but for the uninitiated, for people that don't listen to shows like these, that is the perfect. Like, for example, if you have a cousin-in-law or a sister, or maybe your stepmom or somebody that you really want to share some shit with, but they really have no reference for, All you have to do is pull up Netflix and show them unacknowledged, and it will change their understanding of reality instantly. Not to mention, if you do, here's the coolest part: if you buy it on iTunes,
Or you could watch it on Vimeo for free, I think.
yeah, you can. But if you buy it on iTunes, I think it's like $15 or $20. You get 3 extra bonus features. One is a bunch of
You keep something secret.
I just
one is a bunch of USO. Who?
Stop.
Wait, who just joined here?
Stop. Sorry. I can't turn the sound off. Well,
Okay.
How much is Netflix? Does everyone have Netflix? I'm the only one that doesn't.
I think you're the only one that doesn't. Yeah, it's only like $9 or $10 a month.
Oh, really? I need it. I guess I need it. I don't know. There's so much I haven't listened to already on YouTube. Now I have Netflix to.
Well, I'll tell you what. I actually have 4 different friends that all use my Netflix account, and so I'd be more than happy to add you on the list so that you can just have it for free.
I appreciate that. I love that. I'll watch this for sure. Give me your top 10. I'll watch them all. Oh, and you know the one you said I have to watch? I had watched parts of that. I'm like thinking, this is all so familiar. I had been listening like that week that you turned me on to that. I had been listening to it already, Like we were on the same page as far as discovering this stuff.
Yeah, well, like Dan James just said in the chat room, he says, I watched Unacknowledged. I thought that it was more aimed at people who weren't familiar with the subject. I really didn't learn anything new. Exactly. That was exactly my point. Me, Dan, Kat, Jimmy, anybody else, obviously, we all knew all of that shit. But for people that are completely oblivious to what's going on, it really is the best thing to show them. It's very light and appropriate. It's not too overwhelming. They explain everything in a very in a very prominent way. Just it's a great thing to show to show anybody that's uninitiated. But like Dan just said, yeah, we all knew this shit for years, obviously. I mean, there's no question about that. But nobody has ever put a presentation together like that to show people that are not familiar with all this stuff that we know. And I think that's what it really served. I think that was the big purpose that it really served. And I think a lot of our industry misinterpret, especially after the premiere. There was a lot of big names in the radio industry and whatnot that kind of basically said what Dan said. We knew all of this. Why would you put this together? But Stephen Greer would argue and has argued, yeah, it wasn't for you. This is for the average people, and that's who we want to get. That's who we want to understand what's going on. So I think in that sense, it served a perfect person, perfect. It was perfect, yeah, and so I really do applaud him for that. And I know not a lot of people in this industry are big fans of Stephen Greer, but
I appreciate what he's doing, and
I do too.
Swept under the rug this whole story about this Atacama human. That little human that's like six inches tall that they have a corpse of, and it disappeared. This thing is amazing, and it's living in our time. And if there's one of them, there's hundreds of them, and they were found in 2 different parts of the globe, one in Russia and one in South America. And it died during our lifetimes. It died because it was fed too much yogurt or something. A woman found it and was playing with it. And I'm going to send a link to just something I just found on it. Serious disclosure. This thing is amazing. So we have this is proof of an alien living among us in our time. And it's definitely a species of some sort that's so small Maybe it's sheer size has kept it alive, maybe, but I don't think it's doing well on this planet. But
Yeah,
there's
well, and
nothing.
there's the yeah, please do share that link. Also, Dan James just mentioned something that I am currently encouraging him to share the link for. Sounds very interesting. No, I have not seen it,
It's yeah,
and
Atacama Human. It's unbelievable. It's so cool.
okay,
Uh,
I'll definitely. Well, listen, folks, we have shared so many awesome links in this episode. So if you're listening to this, please go back, scroll through the whole chat room because there are multiple links throughout this whole show that have been shared, and please do look at all of them. But Dan, if you can find a link for what you're talking about, and if you could share it, I would love to see that because no, I have not heard about that, and that seems like something I would want to see. So there you go, and yeah, and there's that other, some people call it the Hobbit alien or whatever, but there was a body found in South America that was they figured by dissecting the body based on the wear and tear on the kneecaps of the body. This being had to have been at least 8 years old. But
right.
here's the kicker: it was less than 3 feet tall, and it had 2 extra ribs. I mean, this is below a midget. We're talking about hobbits here. This is a hobbit being that lived at least 8 years, and it only died back in the late 1800s, very
Right.
recently.
Wow. Wow. That is recent. Very recent.
Yeah, and I think Stephen Greer actually talked about that quite a bit. Okay, so I think Dan just shared his
Yeah, I'm
link there.
watching that rare band Disney UFO documentary.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Very
I've got
cool.
a lot of homework to do after
One
this
of them
show.
looked fake. The one little box thing looked fake, but the other UFO splitting in two and stuff, that was super cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
you
And
know,
Disney was all over this stuff. He was all astronaut. He released all of his movies in alignment with the stars to be a success. You know, he he had he was very in tune to the universe. You know,
yeah,
as
no,
far as
he
his
was a
lunch.
very I don't think, because he died quite a long time ago. But if you really look into him, well, it's kind of hard the internet wasn't around back then. So all there is really,
You know who did a great documentary on them was Crow 777. They did an amazing factoid on Disney, and I didn't think I'd be interested at all. But Crow 777 does everything so well that I was fascinated by Disney's history, and you'd be very very impressed with all of the paranormal stuff he was using to be successful, magic practically. You know.
yeah, and Crow 77 is he's one of our, obviously he's on the same network we
Right,
are,
right. That's right.
and I know Cortana is a huge fan of him, and I like him too. And in fact, it's funny you mentioned him. I was thinking about asking him to come on the show this week.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be a great interview.
It's really funny that you mentioned that because I was right before I started the show. That was one of my thoughts right before I started was I want to get a hold of Crow 77. I mean, we're on the same network. I run his commercials and everything, but we've never actually talked.
Oh, it's
And
good for your network. It's good for his network, and it's going to be a good show. Do it. Do it.
yeah, I think so.
It's always a good show when you interview another show. Always. I always enjoy those. Don't you agree, everybody?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. Okay, hold on. Kat said something right here. You may want to ask the Ponte on their take on info on the. Who is the Ponte? Can you please?
That's Sue Walker, and Reverend Otter. They have they're the communicators with this group of ETs that live in the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico, and you can have a close encounter. She teaches you how to Now, one thing about Sue Walker, she mentions something that nobody mentions anymore because everyone's all over the ET aspect of it. They only want to talk to the Ponte because they have a Twitter account. She's like their spokesperson, and like Kevin Estrella has been getting contact with them, and they're very playful. They play jokes on people. They snap your underwear and stuff like that. So if you want a close encounter of the first kind, she'll teach you how to do it. What's his name? Jeremy Scott. He has not had any luck yet, so. But so far, mostly everybody. Also, Brad Olson, I think, also has made contact with the Ponte. So they're a very friendly ET presence. They're good ETs.
Yeah.
And they have good messages for us.
Yeah, and according to Kat just said in the chat room that John Polk is going to have some folks on to talk about this this coming Tuesday on the Fringe FM. So I'm very much looking forward to that. By the way, speaking of John Polk, if I can pull up this link right now, Jesus Christ, my computer is really not working out very well. So I did, Jeff Rennell from eTalk TV, he did a show, probably, I mean, it couldn't have been more than a couple of weeks ago. But John Polk, who is the host of Quantum Hologram Matrix, which they're going to be talking about Ponte about, he was on the show as well as I was. And he just put, although we recorded it a couple of weeks ago, it was a very good show. It was about 3 hours. And he just now put it out. It was very well produced, and I would love to share that with you guys. If I can just pull up the link here, if my computer could work for 2 fucking seconds, that would be very nice. Let's see. Great. Yeah.
Well, one of the first shows that Sue Walker did with, I think it was John Polk on the Holland Quantum Matrix. She showed them the Ponte had showed her something. He said, "Go get Google Earth," or something like that. Now look up. So she right away looks up her state of Albuquerque. Now he says, "Now turn it upside down. What do you see?" And she sees. I don't remember what she saw. She saw like a very vivid photo of like a Nazca line type of animal, but it was like it made the Nazca lines look like a etch-a-sketch. You know, it was huge. I mean, we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of miles big, from the point of view of outer space, you know? And she's like, wow, wait, there's more. So he goes, look up Saturn or something like that. And sure enough, there's another like very vivid, enormous, like, you know, other animal. And she says, what is going on here? Because they're very well planned, not an accident of nature, you know? And we're talking valleys and meadows and, you know, mountains, and they're like hundreds of miles long. She goes, what the heck is this? And he called it something like astrophotography, you know, anthropology photography or something like this. And apparently everywhere, every planet, you know, votes to which section of the planet gets to do this display of the most indigenous creature that lives on that part of the planet, right? And that, to me, was amazing. Like, that was like showing life on other planets in a huge way, you know, because these are it's like Nazca lines on other planets, but like to a degree that's so enormous, you can see it from huge distances in the galaxy, you know, not just an airplane above Earth, you know, you can see it only from spaceships or from something like a telescope, a Google Earth type thing, you know what I mean? And they never, like, really expanded on that because they were so all over getting ET visits, you know? But I found that so amazing. Like, don't you? Like, you could, and she, like, has thousands of photographs of all different planets with these types of images. And she, you know, she had to, like, get more scan disks because she didn't have enough storage on her computer, you know, just to fill up all the projects, you know, from all of those, you know, those drawings. A la Nazca lines, you know what I'm saying? Can you imagine?
Yeah, and you know,
that was fascinating. You know, it's like every planet has some kind of amazing figure of some sort of creature or animal. And we have it
yes.
too. We have it. I guess somebody in Albuquerque voted. So you have to earn it. You have to earn the right to do that, and then you have to upkeep it.
Yeah, and that really reminds me of especially the planet. Well, first of all, before I get into that, I just shared the link with. There was an episode of eTalk.tv. It's a brand new show hosted by Jeff Rennell. Me and John Polk, Reverend John Polk, who, by the way, is the host of the Quantum Hologram Matrix. We were both the guests on the show. I didn't come in until about 45 minutes into it. It's a 3-hour-long show, and we had a great discussion the whole time. I just posted the link right there in the speaker chat. So definitely check that out. Although we recorded that about a month ago, he just put it out today. So, and I think that's the first episode that they've put out. So definitely check that out. And I've got to say, when it comes to the production value of that show, I would never put that much effort into a show. So congrats to Jeff Rennell for
TV. Awesome.
Yeah,
oh, great.
No, I'm very I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he's done, and I'm honored to be a part of the first episode. So yeah, definitely check that out. We talk about a lot of cool things in there.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, now going back to because I'm sure you're probably aware of Daryl, on the planet Saturn on the North Pole. Or the North, the North, the North Pole, right, of Saturn, it forms a hexagram. It's a very clear shape. There's multiple photos that have been taken by multiple satellites, and there's some sort of energy field at the top of Saturn that forms a hexagram. And on top of that, when you really look into the history of the Pope and the Catholic Church and the Vatican City, they don't even try to hide it. They very publicly represent the planet of Saturn, which if you look even more into the history, if you look even more into the history of Saturn, it's a lot more dark than it is light, to put it very lightly.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
That's amazing.
Man, there was a great documentary I saw about that, but that is way past my current memory. There's no way I could pull that link up now. But that's definitely something to keep in mind, and it does get referenced from time to time, whether it's Coast to Coast or Lighting the Void or our show Shift Happens or Fade to Black.
Someone did the whole thing on Saturn on the Fringe, and I'm trying to remember who did it.
Well, it was probably Joe. It was probably Lighting the Void.
I don't think it might have been the Quantum Hologram Matrix, I think.
Oh, it might have been. It might have been John's show, or it might have been Crow 777's show. Actually, no, I think you're right. I think it was the Quantum Hologram Matrix, right?
I think so. And I'm trying to remember the name of the guest. Saturn. It was talking about a Saturnist. He was a Saturnist. Oh my goodness. I think he had an accent. He might have been French or Italian. Italian. With a thick accent. Does it ring a bell?
Honestly, I have not
heard
any of the last of his 4 shows. So I don't know. And I say that with all, John's a good friend of mine. We talk all the time. It's just, I have so many friends in this industry. We all do shows, and it's relatively impossible to listen to all of them. But I try to listen as much as possible.
Me too.
So I do apologize about that. But
Kat and I always show up in the same rooms, right, Kat? Is she still there?
Yeah,
I always
you guys do. Yeah.
When there's nothing on, we both wind up at Spaced Out Radio. Right,
Yeah,
Kat?
be sure. And I'm glad you pointed that out. Well, first of all, yeah, you and Kat definitely usually show up together, but also, so I'm not gonna explain what I think about why this happened. I'm just gonna tell you guys what happened tonight. So Neil, the Neil, if you guys know who I'm talking about, he was the guest on Spaced Out Radio tonight.
Right.
But which is normally, or what is it, 3 hours or 4 hours?
It's 3 hours, and it's Tessa's night. It's Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, what's her name? Right, yeah.
Tess Nicole, right.
Yeah, but here's the thing. After an hour, as soon as they cut to their first break after the first hour, they cut the show. They cut
I
it
stopped
off.
listening to it. I didn't even wait. Oh, they did cut the show? He said the F word too much, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was. Honestly, I'm not going to say what I think. I'm just going to point out that they cut off the show after 1 hour when it was supposed to go on for 3 hours.
Dave Scott cut it. He didn't want that guy on again.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of surprised that. Now, first of all, let me just say publicly, I talk to Neil, sometimes, and he's got a very good heart, and I'm always up to listening what he has to say. But let's just say I'm not surprised that they cut off the show at 1 hour.
Oh.
Right.
But
once again, I do want to reiterate, I love Neil. He's a great guy. I've had some great conversations with him, but I can understand why they didn't do a full 3 hours. So I'll just
He didn't want him on at all the first night because he kept dropping the F word. He says, get him off, and she says, no, it's okay. And then she puts him on again. I hope she's not going to get in trouble over this.
She probably will. If I had to guess.
She might lose her job, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
That would suck, But she didn't. I don't know why she invited him back. I don't know.
And I don't understand why he allowed her to invite him back unless he wasn't fully aware of it until he heard what was happening and then he shut it down. That's what I'm guessing. What happened? Which
I might go onto her after show and find out. You want to go onto her after show?
What do you mean her after show?
I could go. She has an after show on Skype. I can put us all in it now. Here, let's call in. We did this once before. Was it with you?
No, not with me, but yeah. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll do a simulcast here.
Oh, wait, can I call her while I'm on the phone with you? I'm on Skype. I can do 2 phone calls on Skype, or I can add us to their phone.
Yeah, just add her to the call.
Yeah, I want to do that, yeah. Okay, hold on.
I would love to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say there's a good chance that this might end the episode, but if it works, we're going to keep on going. So, there's your aforementioned.
With that being said, no, you don't.
Look who's saying with that being said now.
Okay, I'm going to try calling Anson. Let's see. Maybe she should call me. Let me tell her to call me. Tess.
No, I think you should add her.
I don't know how to. Let's see. Wait,
okay, look, I'm going to talk you through this. So,
okay, go ahead.
All right, so look at your Skype.
Right.
And look at the current call.
Ongoing call. I'm with you. Right. Okay, now I have a plus button.
Yeah, there's a plus button. So you click that, and once you click that, there's an option that says Add People.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's on settings. Wait.
Well, it also depends on what version of Skype you're using. But if you click the plus sign, it should say Add People.
There's more options. It goes share screen, snapshot, show reactions, hold call, start recording, or turn subtitles on. That's one thing I could do. Then there's the settings button. Or no, there's a There's a human up there. Let me do the person.
All right, right.
Add to call. Okay, add to call. Add her to call.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah. There
I
you
got it.
go. Okay.
I want to add her to call.
Right.
Add.
Once again, this is a B-side show, folks. Not very professional here. And that's why we do this. So, this is just us hanging out.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club
she's
at
on commercial.
spacedoutradio.com.
All right, let's be quiet.
For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else.
Tess, are you there? Oh, she left.
Oh, no, she dropped us.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, she was in the middle of a commercial, so I can understand
Maybe
why.
she started her show again. She's still on her Oh, no, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. No, it's over. The show's over.
Well, her main show would be over, but the after show you were talking about.
Yeah, calling into her after show. It's on Skype.
No, she was clearly just running a commercial.
Yeah. Wait, there's 200 Let me try her again.
Just try it again, but once she connects, let's both not say anything so that she doesn't hang up on us.
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to do
Here we go.
now.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday.
Hey, Dad.
Hello? Can we talk?
This is a reflection of who you are.
Tess?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here with Gigi. We were on his show.
Yeah, we still got a minute and 45 seconds. And Daryl called in. What's up, Daryl?
Oh, we wanted to talk to you. We were just talking about you.
Yeah, we're doing a live show right now, but we can wait for a couple of minutes if you want to wrap this up.
Yeah, we had weird stuff going on during the second hour, so we were going to go a little overtime, and then at the end of the show. So,
are you still
I wanted to do the after party as well.
Yeah, we wanted to come to the after party and chat. So we can wait till you finish.
You guys want to just hang in there and do your own thing? We'll do our thing over here for a little bit and
okay. Are you
check
Neil?
in with you guys.
Is Neil still on?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Really?
Okay, so that's good to know. Okay, we'll listen to the end of the show.
Okay, let me get the mic set over here. If you guys have any questions, you can ask, but yeah, it's been weird tonight. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, it's been really weird for us, too. There's been a lot of technological, unexplainable mishaps.
Do
you guys Spreaker as well, or just Skype?
Both, actually, Skype and Spreaker. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Spreaker that was messing me up. It was just recycling, and I reset it like 3 or 4 different times, and then finally it worked. But yeah, it was weird.
All right, so how much longer until the after party? Because
okay, so we're back tonight with Neil Robichaux, and he has joined us and been so gracious during the second hour craziness. But Neil, welcome back to the show. How you doing? Neil, are you still there?
I'm doing okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my Bluetooth. Yeah, I'm here. My Bluetooth went crazy too.
Yeah, it was so weird. And I was talking to Daryl and somebody else over there, and they said they had tech issues on their side as well. So it's not just us.
Indeed.
Oh. Yeah, but what's the deal about my car? My Bluetooth shouldn't be crashing. You know?
Yeah, it's totally weird.
But let's see, what you want to talk about now, Tess?
Well, we were talking about the other dimensions, and you were talking to me last week about vampires, not vampires as people generally know them, but vampires that come into your household and...
Uh-oh.
Oh.
No, she dropped us, I think.
No, she's still here.
Oh, okay. I can't hear her though.
Yeah, me neither. Oh, she might have.
I could put her on. I could put her on speaker though.
How long until she does the after party? How much longer does she have?
Into overtime. How long do people go into overtime usually? Let's see.
Well, that's that's anybody's guess.
I don't know if how she could do a half hour.
I would maybe go 30 minutes, but that doesn't,
Must be a good show if they go into
she
overtime.
might have different standards. What's her name again?
Tessa Nicole. Isn't that a cool name?
Tessa McCall. So she replaced what's her name?
Elizabeth Englund.
Yeah, what happened to that girl?
She quit.
Are you sure, or do you think she got fired?
I heard she quit. I didn't get the full story.
Yeah.
Dave was being a dick to her, and she just said, "I had enough." That's what I heard.
Honestly, Dave is a dick to everybody. Just to put that
he
publicly.
Fired people in general. People don't quit. I don't know who's quit there. He's fired just about everybody.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason that the Fringe FM didn't drop his show for no reason at all. Let's just put it that way.
Strapped him. He didn't drop the Fringe.
Oh no, he got dropped pretty hard. But I don't want to. Honestly, I have all the respect for Dave. Listen, he does a show 7 nights a week. He might only host 5 nights, but still, he's got quite an operation there. Certainly something that I am not capable of. So I have to give him nothing but respect for that. But at the same time, the Fringe FM is a family. We all talk. We all hear what goes on. And like I said, he wasn't dropped for no reason at all. Let's just leave it at that.
I found the show, by the way. The Open Eye Project with Neil Robichaux.
Talking about?
Here it is.
Or driving a motorbike.
Yeah, but I'm not...
Here. Or, getting out your house.
I'm just hearing it from your computer. My audience is not hearing it.
Example,
Right,
I went to tell the FBI my assessment.
Hey, Marilyn.
And
Yeah, you have to add her back on Skype. That's the only way it's going to work.
All right. I don't know if she
But hey there,
dropped me.
Marilyn.
Let's see. Are we still connected with her? Yeah.
Go back to the plus icon and add her just like you did earlier.
Wait, I think she's on our call.
No, she's not.
No, she's not. All right, maybe she doesn't want to be. She wants to do her show.
No, I don't think she... just try adding her again.
I did. Let's see. Tessa Thomas Peterson.
All right, well...
She's not on the call. Even though I tried to add her. I'll click on her again, but I feel like I'm going to be annoying her.
No, she sounded pretty down.
Let's see. Cheryl.
Well, I know Neil's down. I talk to him all the time.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right, anybody, for everybody of our audience, just have some patience here. We're trying to connect. We're trying to simulcast with Spaced Out Radio, which is pretty ironic. But I guess we're going to try to do it anyway. So
I can try putting it back on my computer. It doesn't sound good coming through my computer.
We're not hearing anything. No, you have to add her through Skype like you did the very first time.
I did, but she doesn't have us live on Skype.
What do you mean she doesn't have us allowed?
She didn't put our she took her sound off of Skype.
No, I don't. That's not something that you can do on Skype. So
here, they add her again. It looks like she's in.
Yeah.
Cheryl for others to join. Can you tell if she's in?
Yeah, I can, and she's not here.
Cheryl for others to join. I mean, Tessin.
Yeah. By the way, wait. Okay, we got some new messages in the chat room. Side note. What? Oh, yeah. Everybody's asking about Cortana. So for our audience here, Daryl, can you please just add her back the way you did the first time while I answer these questions?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll do it again. I'll try it again.
Oh, Wait, hold on. It looks like she might. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it looks like she's here, but she hung up, so you have to add her back in.
I just did, but I don't know. She's probably just on ads or so. Oh well.
Okay. Can you message me her?
Yeah, her name. Okay, sure. Let me give it. It's Let me tell you her name. It's
No, don't tell it over the air. Just message me on the Skype Discord. So anyway, back to our audience. Yeah, Cortana. If you haven't noticed, she hasn't been on the show for the last 2.5 months, and she, for a very good reason, she went back to Washington, and her godmother is very sick, and so she went back to go take care of her. So we are no longer. She will be on the show eventually. We tried very hard. Sorry, folks, to get her on the show yesterday, but it didn't work out. That's why we've had Darren for the last few weeks filling in as the co-host. But eventually, Cortana will be back. Don't worry, she will be back, and she's doing well. Everything is fine, so nothing to worry about there. She will be back. So that's all I can say. I can't say when. It could be next week. It could be 3 months. We don't know, and she doesn't know. So it's just a matter of personal things that are going on. So she does give her hellos. She sincerely apologizes for not being here. In fact, she gave me a whole list of things to tell you guys that I wrote down on a piece of paper that's not near me. So, but trust me when I say she loves all of you guys, and she will be back eventually, because trust me when I say Shift Happens is just as much of her brainchild as it is mine. In fact, it's probably more of her brainchild. She came up with the name. She's the one that convinced me to do it. So this is very much her show as well. Just because she's not here doesn't mean this is not her show, because it is. So with that said, Daryl, what's going on? Are you still here? Well,
I'm here.
All right, so what happened?
Nothing. I couldn't get Tessa back. I just sent you her name though on Discord.
To answer Marilyn's question, yeah, I typically I appear on other shows at least once or twice a week. So I don't doubt that you've heard me on another show. Anytime you hear the name Gigi, I'm the only Gigi in the business, so that's definitely me. Okay, all right. Did you send me her? All right, let's go ahead and make this work right now. Did you send me her?
Thompson. I sent it wrong though.
No, you didn't send it to me. Have you tried just adding her like the first time you did? Yes, everybody, please send your best wishes to Cortana. She could definitely use it at this time. Please do that. Well, if you can just message me her Skype name, I can add us.
I send it to Discord.
Oh, okay. Well, let me pull up Discord.
The second one.
In Internet Somalia or in the private message?
Private message, I think. Gigi, yeah.
I see you sent a message, but that name is not going to. Well, I don't know. Let me try it. I don't think that's in the right form, but let me see. We'll see.
Sure.
All right. Yep. Nope. Didn't work.
Oh?
There's a. Yeah. No. Like, you know how you spell the name with spaces in between the names?
Oh, okay.
That's not how it works. It would have to be one single.
No, it's actually there's a dash between the last two names.
Well, I'll try that. Sorry, folks. We're having some technical difficulties here, but we will try to fix this right. Shit. All right, there we go. Let's see. Oh, well, I can't add her because she's not a contact. So you have to add her. That's the problem.
You should be able to add her. Wait, let me see.
Whatever you did the first time, if you can just do that again, that should work.
Yeah. I just did it. Add. Not on this call. Won't let me. I think she probably blocked me by now.
You know what? Dan James just said in the chat. He says, "I think Daryl would make a great Interman B-side co-host." And in fact, me and Daryl have done at least a couple of B-side shows.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we go back on the B-side and rarities episode list. We've done multiple shows with Daryl. Yeah, she's one of the best. Anyway, we are now connected with Tessa.
Hold on, I just lost Neil. Hold on a second.
Oh, we got Tessa back. Good.
Oh,
you need to add Gene.
By the way, well, just to answer Dan, I did a pretty good recall on it on last night's show at the very beginning. I think you missed. If I remember correctly, you didn't tune in until a little bit later. Although I guess I could have given a better review, right? So maybe I'll do that on the next B-side show this Wednesday. For some reason, we have more people joining our chat room.
You are so popular. I saw you as soon as you post. I'm there.
Yeah.
I was actually at Tess's chat room. I wanted to talk to Tess. Oh, Tess, are you there? Are you free to talk?
Well, she was there, but she just hung up like 20 seconds ago.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, whatever you just did, just do it again.
I feel like I'm annoying her. I normally wouldn't, invite somebody this many times if they keep hanging up on me.
All right, well, try it one more time. If she hangs up, then we'll just continue with our show. Hey there, Mr. White. Thanks for joining. Mr. White, I have never seen you in any of our shows before, so thanks for tuning in. A pretty random episode to be a first-timer for, but thanks for tuning in anyway.
Hey, that's Father Guido Sarducci. I loved Father Guido. Remember him? You got to pay for your sins. Like when you go to heaven, you you masturbate. That's like 5 cents. You really have to remember that.
Yeah.
You pay for your sins. That was hysterical.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about what we could do? Oh, you know what I could do? I could just add Neil. Because he's on their show, right?
Do that.
Okay. Oh, that's right. He only calls in from his number. He doesn't have a Skype. So I can't...
Call him on Discord. Let me go to Discord, see if I could call him on Discord.
Oh, I know what I can do. Right here. If we go back in Discord... Neil posted the call-in number a long time ago. This is going to take me a minute, but he did post the call-in number, so I will call in both of us onto the show. Does that sound good?
Go ahead. Which show did he post the number for? For her Space Radio?
Yeah, for Tessa's Spaced Out Radio. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, there's a lot of sexual images in this Discord here. I approve of all of them, but let's go ahead and... Wow, that's weird. It actually won't let me scroll up anymore. Well, I guess this is not meant to happen.
Did Neil ever post a message into Discord? I don't have Neil's name in Discord.
Yeah, no, his name is Neil in Discord. But it won't let me scroll up any further. Oh, I'm in the wrong... okay, here we go.
I'm in Napoleon blown apart.
Yeah, that's the wrong one. You gotta go to main discussion. All right, folks.
One
second. We're about to get this going. In just a
a
couple of seconds.
Yeah.
His post is right here. There it is. Wait. There it was. There it's not.
I found Neil on Discord.
There's that beautiful image again, but not the number. His post got deleted.
Let me see. Send friend request.
Wow, we're just not meant to,
Servers, mutual friends. Now, there's
have
no
this
place for me to... Oh, I can call him, I think.
Well... Okay, well... She just disappeared. But you know what we can do is I can call her and Tessa back at the same time. Let's see what happens here. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oops, my mistake.
yeah, we lost you for a second
I hung
there.
up on you. I thought I was calling Neil. There's no place to call Neil on my Discord.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Discord. He only calls in from his phone number. That's the
Usually you could call somebody if they're on Discord.
Kat, if you wish, you could be passing a jug of wine around. Well, I've got a jug of whiskey right here. So, if you got a jug of something, that pretty much makes up for it.
Call him. I could call him. Here we go. I started a call with Neil.
Really?
Yeah, I found a way to call him.
Did you call his number, or did you call his,
Discord.
He's on... I don't think he's on Discord. Okay, well, let's...
I don't know if he'll hear it.
Let's
No,
see
he's
what
not
happens.
online.
Let's see what happens. I love these B-side shows. This is fantastic.
They're great. It's so interesting and so laid back.
Yeah, because we can say whatever the fuck we want, and we have no measures or precautions that we have to abide to. So...
I still try not to curse, even though I...
Yeah, unless it's, like, necessary. There are some points that you might make where you might have to drop an F-bomb just to, you know, emphasize the seriousness of what you're saying, I guess you could say.
Exactly.
Man, I wish I could control your Skype from you, because I know for a fact I could get them on.
Oh, dude, damn.
If I were
How
on
can
your
I
end.
share my Skype? I could share my Skype list with you, can't I?
No,
Anyway, isn't there a way to send all my something like my contact list to you?
No, I meant like I would need to have access to your computer, which I could hack into your computer right now, but
I could share my screen with you.
That's not very friendly.
Share my. You know how to hack my computer,
Okay, look at Skype, right?
right?
You see where the red hang up button is?
Yeah,
Just to the left, there's a plus button.
right.
Click that.
No, actually, the best way is just that doesn't give me the options. It does. I could share the screen though.
No. Go back to what I said. Click the plus button.
Yeah, that doesn't give me that option. It gives me snapshot, share screen, show reactions, hold call, start recording, or turn subtitles on. Now, on the top, though, there's a little person I could click on. If I click on the person, that gives me the thing that says to add adds to cool.
Yeah,
Add to,
you're
so they
okay. Yeah,
personalize
you're using the new version. So yeah, click that at the top.
Yeah, that's
click
how
that.
I got it last time.
All right,
So let's just clicked on her add. I just said add.
and that's it.
Yeah.
That should be it. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. If it does, then it does.
That's three on the call.
It worked for a second. Wait, did you push it?
Yeah, yeah. No, she was on before for sure, but she, she dropped us. Okay, I'm gonna send her a message.
Can
I
you?
added Pastor Thomas, Brian Vessler to this conversation. It looks like she's added. Oh,
Well, that's because she
Started.
was on earlier.
Go to call. Hold on. Go to call. Oh, it looks like I'm calling her. Not even though it's not ringing.
No, well, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. No, but the reason why her name shows up is because she was in the call earlier.
No,
But-
don't you see her name then? How
Yeah,
it's spelled?
that's what I'm saying. Even though she hung up, her name is still in the call
But use
because
her name. You can use that name. That's her name. You see the name.
I
Or-
do.
And-
Okay. Well, I tried that earlier. All right, I'm gonna try this one more time. If this doesn't work, yeah. See, it's not working because I'm not already connected
friend?
with her.
Not on this call. And Tessa Thomas Peterson. So she must be still doing her show. Let me see. Yeah, she's still on live with Neil Robish.
I was looking at this dude and he had black
Wait.
eyes. I mean, he's very big. I was looking at his arms and said,
All right,
"That's a
here
big,
we are.
strong guy." And he was older, about my age. And I told him, "Look, man, I'm a doctor.
Oh, wait,
I'm an
no.
MD. I mean, about vampirism." And I'm looking at him.
We're
and
just
I'm telling
hearing
him,
the
man, I
show.
said,
We're
"Look,
not on it.
You've been sucked on. I mean, they're sucking your energy bad. I mean, and he looked like a walking dead person. That's what, I'm going around the country, not the young people, because the young people have, more energy, it seems like. But, and I called him back the next day. I said, you know what? You can't even protect yourself. And you're FBI. And I was trying to tell him, I remote viewed the CIA, and I got 3 visions.
Gigi?
All right. Yeah. Yeah. We can hear the show, but we were not on it.
Right. Okay, so we'll drop it then.
Yeah. Can you just add Teresa to the call? Is that really?
I did. She's not accepting it. I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, then fuck it.
She's not accepting it. I don't want to bother her. She's a nice girl. It's not my style.
All right. Yeah. Well, then fuck it. Mr. White is wondering. Well, what we were talking about, Mr. White, was well, actually, if you can send me her Discord name anyway, Daryl, I might
She's
give it.
on Discord.
I might give it one more try. But yeah, we were talking about the main point of this show was the Apollo mission fuckery and all of the misconceptions of the moon. So if you want to call in and talk about that, feel free. If you don't, that's fine too.
I want to find that video where the ETs are in the same screen as the why we didn't go back to the moon. It was called Why We Didn't Go Back to the Moon.
Well, I think the main reason we never went back to the moon is because on our way there, we realized we couldn't fucking make it. And so we never fucking went. I think that's really what happened.
I want to see if I find that footage with the ET and the
Now,
youth.
when I say that, I mean with people. Obviously, we've sent rovers there because we've got rovers on Mars. We've got rovers on, we've got satellites around multiple planets. Those obviously made it there because they are not biological beings and they can survive the Van Allen belt. But when it comes to NASA trying to get us to believe that humans went through the Van Allen belt, back in the 70s.
6 successful manned unit that went to the moon.
Yeah, 6 successfully faked bullshit missions to the moon. And once again, look no further. I have put all of the links in the Spreaker chat room here for anybody that wants to know. The one link that I'm talking about is a documentary called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, which I will try to pull that back up and I will put it in again. But essentially what you're going to see, now I will be honest, the first like 10 or 20 minutes is pretty boring, and it takes a while to get to it. But if you actually watch it, the kicker is the footage that they show of Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Collins faking the shot of the Earth from low Earth orbit when they were pretending to be in lunar orbit. So you gotta wonder, and here's the link right there. Bam. There you go. So if you are really in lunar orbit, well, obviously you're not, because you're in near Earth orbit and you're faking the shot. You turned out the lights in the shuttle and you used the circular shape of the window to carve out essentially a small fraction of the planet, and they took a photo of that. But what you see in the footage is right after that happens, they turn the lights on and you can clearly see the Earth was cut out by the circular window, and then you hear them talking like, was that good? Did it look right? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you mean, did it look right? If you're actually in lunar orbit and you took a photo, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You took the fucking photo. But they didn't fucking take it because they never went that far. Because humans cannot go that far. And once again, I do repeat, in 1992, NASA admitted that they have no idea how to get humans past the Van Allen belt without dying. Yet, supposedly, we sent them there 20 years prior, 6 different fucking times, or probably more than that, right? And, nothing happened. And not to mention, nothing happened to the people. The footage that they would have taken would have been melted, like I said before, just like if you put a piece of cheese in the microwave and you microwaved it for about 5 minutes. That cheese would be melted to shreds and would not even resemble cheese. Same thing that would happen, that NASA admits that would happen to humans. And this is, you really got to think about this, folks. And then factor in the point that they get about a $350 billion budget every fucking year. And what are they doing with that? What? They're giving us CGI images? They're not sending anybody anywhere? Where's all that money going? And this is where Stephen Greer's unacknowledged comes in. Where are all of these funds coming from to support these black operations? For example, if you guys don't remember, the day before 9/11, literally the day before 9/11, what's his name, Rumsfeld or whatever his name was, he announced to the world that, $1 trillion, I think he said $3 trillion, but let's just play it safe, and just said he said $1 trillion were unaccounted for. Guess where those unaccounted dollars came from? They came from the bullshit NASA budget that never fucking did anything, and God knows what else. But $350 billion is quite a ways towards $1 trillion. To put that in perspective, if you spent $50 million, you would still have $345 billion left. I think maybe it's $340 million. I can't really, I'm not a mathematician here, but I've looked this up. I've got my notes somewhere. It's something like that. Like 50. Somebody, please, in the audience, do the math. $350 billion minus $50 million. It makes a microscopical dent in that budget. And do you really think they're spending all of that money to make a CGI composite image, which the NASA guy who is responsible for these composite images admits that that's what they do. Come on, folks. You got to think about this. How is nobody talking about this? That's the whole reason why I came on the air tonight. Like, seriously, folks, you got to look into this shit. Well, yeah, lies, like Kat said, lies are hard for some to keep track of. But what's not hard to keep track of is purported facts that NASA, the government, the UN puts out there, and then you take those facts and you try to add them together, and they don't make any fucking sense. They don't fucking make sense. It's that fucking simple. And the more and more you look into it, the more and more you see that they are fucking lying to us. They have not been to the moon. Maybe they sent a rover to the moon. But humans haven't been to the moon. All of those photos are fake. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. The photos, the videos, it's all fucking bullshit. And on top of that, my number one point is, even with China, as we speak, apparently being on the dark side of the moon, they can't even take a picture of the Earth. Why not? Why has nobody ever taken a single fucking photo of the Earth? Yeah, we have the NASA images that they put out, but like I just discussed, and if you look up, go to Google and type in the blue marble NASA guy, whatever you want to call it, in that interview, he explains to you, yeah, those are not photos. Those are composite images that are... So let me explain what a composite image is. A composite image is essentially an image created in Photoshop. Do you see what I'm saying here? Nobody's ever taken a photo of the Earth. If we really went that fucking far, we really went to the moon, why can't you just take a photo? What's all this Photoshop bullshit? And like he says in that interview, he says, yes, and I quote, yes, we do use Photoshop, but we have to. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean you have to? Why can't you just take a picture of it? So something fucky's going on there, and that's really, that's all I have to say. That's really all I really wanted to come on here to say. And seriously, folks, just look into it. And I think later this week, we're going to get into a much deeper discussion about this with our regular co-host, Darren McClure, probably on Monday or Tuesday.
One thing I want to mention, we put a flag on the moon. Don't we have images of the flag on the moon taken from Earth?
Not taken from Earth, but you know what we do have is photos of the flag waving as if there were air on the moon, which according to NASA, there's no atmosphere, which means there's no fucking
wind,
air. Exactly. And nobody has ever... NASA has gone so far out of the way to ignore that question, which is a huge fucking question. That's, that's like the equivalent of asking, why didn't a forest fire burn down the forest? Right? Like, shouldn't a fire obviously burn down the forest? Well, shouldn't fucking a non-atmospheric planet not fucking blow a flag in the air? And then they tried to say that Buzz sneezed. Well, guess what? He had a fucking helmet on. How the fuck is his sneeze going to affect the fucking flag? Yeah, it's fucking preposterous. Everything NASA does is fucking preposterous. And you know what's... I mean, there's really no, credibility to this reference at all. I just think it's kind of funny that this just happened a couple of days ago. Theo Von, who is a stand-up comedian, and honestly, he's one of my favorite stand-up comedians in the industry right now. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast just like a week or two ago, and he mentioned it in passing. They weren't discussing the moon. They weren't, like, this was not part of the discussion, but he did mention in passing. He was and Theo Von is a very relatable guy. And what he said was like, it's like, yeah, I met Buzz Aldrin one time, and, I don't know how to say it, but it just doesn't seem like he went to the moon just from meeting him, and for somebody so humble and so uninformed, for somebody like that to say something like that, like, especially on Joe Rogan's podcast, like, he obviously meant it. And when you go back and you watch those documentaries by Bart Seibel, whether it's Astronauts Gone Wild or A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, and you watch the reactions of all of these astronauts that supposedly went to the moon, they all act like fucking kids. And, I mean, Buzz punched him in the face. None of them would put their hand on the Bible and swear that they went to the moon. Why would you not do that? If you ask me, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, absolutely. But I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Islam. I'm not anything. I'm just individually spiritual. But if you ask me to put my hand on the Bible and say, did you grow up skateboarding? Why would I refuse to do that when I obviously grew up skateboarding, right? So why did every single astronaut refuse to do that? That's, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but really kind of think about that for a second. Why would you have a problem doing that if you really did do that? It doesn't matter whether you believe in the Bible or not, but why would you not do that? That's my main question. And it's never been answered. And more interestingly, like I mentioned much earlier in this episode, Bart Seibel has, quite frankly, disappeared. The last interview that I recall was on Jimmy Church back in Fade to Black, that is. Back in I want to say late 2014. It might have been 2015. But ever since then, and first of all, that was a killer, blow the lid off of every idea about any of this shit sort of interview. Like, they nailed it. And then, never heard from him again. He's completely disappeared since then, which really has me very fucking curious. So once again, I do ask anybody in the audience, like I said, me and all of our producers here, we've all been trying to get in touch with this guy. Untouchable. He's disappeared. He hasn't been in the public for more than 4 or 5 years. So if anybody knows any way to get in touch with Bart Seibel, please let us know. We would love to have a conversation with that guy, because he just when you look at the evidence, there's no arguing about it, and it's really that simple. And I'm very, at the very least, I can say I am so disappointed in this whole industry, whether it's our network or our competitors' networks, all of the shows that all of us listen to all the time. This never gets talked about, ever. And shame on us. Shame on this whole industry for not looking into this. And,
did you ever see the reaction of the astronauts when they first returned from the moon? I saw footage of this, and they weren't behaving like people that have just returned from this first time in history, amazing feat. Like, they didn't have a reaction that would have been indicating that they had just done something so incredible. They were all very, subdued and almost morose. I'm trying to find some footage of that. But if you could find the original footage, they were at a press conference. They were also, they weren't, enthusiastic. They were very, subdued and almost depressed,
Yeah, I'm very, very glad you brought that up, because this is a serious thing, and this is something you guys can look up right now. Yes, they did a press conference once they supposedly got back to the moon, and the whole press conference, there are multiple things about this. First of all, like you just said, they for some 3 people that went to the moon, well, 2 of them technically, obviously Collins was in the lunar module, but they didn't look like people that made the greatest discovery of humankind. They looked like and talked like they were covering up a murder that they just committed. It was the most awkward fucking interview you've ever fucking seen in your life. And if you don't believe me, just look up the Apollo 7 or whichever one it was, Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Collins. Look up the press conference. And here's the thing. During the conference, here's the biggest kicker about this. Somebody in the audience asked a question. They asked all of them, were you able to see the stars from the moon? As soon as they asked that question, they all kind of looked at each other. They didn't know what to say. And then all of a sudden, Collins, in a moment of spontaneity, just jumped in and said, I don't recall seeing any. Well, wait a minute. Collins was never on the moon. He was never on the moon. He stayed in the ship, but he just answered that question as if he was on the moon. And as soon as he answered it, you can see Neil Armstrong look at him and almost give him a little elbow, like, hey, shut the fuck up. What are you saying? Like, he really fucked up there. But here's the other kicker, is because back when this was recorded, this was back in the 70s, right? And they didn't know about the internet. They didn't know that this video would ever get out. So what they did is, in the transcript, they actually re-edited it and said that Buzz Aldrin said what Collins said, because it would only make sense, right? Because Buzz was on the moon, but Collins was not. So for decades, everybody thought the transcript was real until the video came online and everybody saw that Collins was the one that said that he could not see any stars from the surface of the moon, even though he was never on the fucking moon in the first place. Boom. Right there. Somebody, anybody, prove to me against this, against that. Prove anything against that. There is no... and just look at their reactions. Just be a human and look at them in a human form and look at their faces, look at their attitude during the whole conference. Like I said, they look like they're lying about committing a murder. They don't look like they just got back from we just went to the moon. Fuck yeah, I'm a fucking... No. They look like their dog just got run over by a car. A very different... it doesn't take... Forget the science, forget the facts. Just look at their attitude. Just look at how they present themselves in that conference. And that's pretty much all you really need to see right there. Man, sorry to go on a rant, but man, it just really bothers me that nobody's really getting this. Like, really? Nobody on all these stations? Nobody on all these channels? None of these shows that we're doing? None of my friends in this industry? Nobody's talking about this? Really? It's so fucking obvious. And Bart Cyber was the last one to really talk about it, and he's been silent for 4 years. So
I've heard a show where they were talking conspiracy about the moon, and that I think even with David Adair, it was brought up with him. Joe brought it up, that there was some conspiracy that we didn't go to the moon, and David Adair said, "Oh, we didn't go to the moon. He was sure we went to the moon."
I've had a great little. So David Adair was on.
He was involved in that whole thing. He was.
I don't know because
listen, thanks to David Adair, he doesn't even brag about this. The reason we have Velcro, the reason we have Pampers, is he patented those things for the astronauts to urinate in space. That's why we have those things now. So he was developing a lot of the products we use nowadays. Were based on that first moon. The first moon mission was thanks to David Adair. He solved a lot of their those kind of issues. And I think Velcro is used also to keep things, to stick things somewhere so they wouldn't float and so forth. But Pampers, that was a big one,
Yeah,
we didn't have Pampers before.
Well, here's another thing that I personally talked to David Adair about, which, by the way, if you guys don't know who David Adair is, he might quite possibly be one of the most intelligent humans that is still alive today.
And biggest American hero today. I think we all thank our lucky stars that he made sure we never had a first strike. And end humankind way back then. We're all alive today thanks to him, basically. We were very close to nuking Russia before they even knew what would happen.
Yeah, and you can. There's many interviews with him talking about that, including Lighting the Void. John Polk had him on the Quantum Hologram Matrix. He was supposed to come on our show, but a conflict in schedule prevented that from happening. But when I did talk to him, though, and this was when he was on Joe's show, Lighting the Void. I called in, and I asked him specifically about how this guy came out, Brian Mullen, came out a couple of years ago, and if you watch the video, it's very boring for most people, right? It's basically a 30-minute long algebra equation. So obviously most people are not going to follow through to the end. But if you do follow through to the end, it turns out that NASA's math equations, when it comes to, for example, when they're trying to figure out the mass of Jupiter, or in other words, the size of Jupiter, during the equation, the mass of Jupiter cancels out. In other words, meaning Jupiter could be the size of a golf ball, or it could be the size of the sun. It doesn't matter. Either way, the equation still works out. Just because you get an answer at the end of the equation doesn't mean it makes any fucking sense at all, which it doesn't. And so I specifically brought that up to David Adair, and he agreed 100%. He was like, "Oh, you're right. They have no idea how big any of the planets are. We don't even know how big the Earth is. All of the equations don't make any fucking sense. It's it's like saying 2 + 2 = 6. Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure 2 + 2 = 4. But wait a minute, you're saying it equals 6. So if you go and look into the equations are all bunk. They're all bullshit. NASA has no fucking idea what the fuck they're talking about. And I swear on my grandmother's grave to all of this, if you don't have the time to look into the video and to look into the mathematics, I have done it. I have spent hours. I mean, the video was only 30 minutes long, but I had to keep pausing it and play it again and pause it so I could write everything down. It took me about 2 or 3 hours to actually get through the equations, but I did the equations myself, and he's right. They don't fucking make sense. The answer is not logical. The size of Jupiter could be, like I said, the size of a golf ball, the size of the moon. The equation still works either way, which is kind of ironic because the whole point of the equation is to figure out how big Jupiter is. Yet, according to NASA's equation, it doesn't matter what the size Jupiter is. So what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is going on here? Am I really the only person asking about this? Come on, guys. Think about this shit. Sorry, folks. I'm getting a little overexcited here. But seriously, man, nobody's talking about this. And nobody. I mean, the only person that I have talked to that actually admitted to this on any radio show was David Adair. But that was a very brief, 10-minute conversation. No other host, no other network.
Show. You really got to get him on your show. He's such a great, what a great guest. I think he's one of my favorite people in current history. He's the modern day Tesla,
Basically, yeah. I think that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good description, right? He's basically the modern day Nikola Tesla. He really
You know
is.
something? I think he did something in that aircraft, in that engine. I think he made sure that nobody would find that engine. You know, when he was down interfacing with the engine.
Hello?
Oh, Tess, are you there? Is that you, Tess?
Yeah, we got somebody here.
Tess, that was
So I'm gonna add people on.
that was Gigi
Yeah.
who called you 1,000 times. That wasn't me.
Wait, what are you talking about? That was you. I didn't call her any times.
He made me do it. He made me do it. He was so. I wouldn't stop.
Well, I made her call you 1,000 times. We'll call
He
it
did.
fair at that.
I wouldn't do that, but I
No.
was just obeying the power of Gigi's persuasion.
Right.
So how was your show, Tess?
That's exactly the answer I would expect. You know, I know Neil. I love Neil, but you know, I'm sure you know. So
I wanted to tell you something. Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. Tessa, can you turn your video off just so that we can share, save some bandwidth?
6.
Oh, she does all video. Hers is the video show, but there's nobody on, or we don't see her guests.
Well,
Tess, there? Can you hear us?
I don't know
I'm
if
not
she can hear us.
No.
Tess, can you hear us?
702.
All right, let's give Tessa a second here to see if she can get her settings worked out.
Tessa, can you hear me?
Tessa,
Can you hear me?
Tessa, can you hear me, Figaro?
That is Robert and Ron. I see all her guests and Sandra.
It looks like she's really trying here.
Trying to get everybody in here.
She's trying to get everybody in.
All right, now we've got like 5 people
Group
here.
now.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Tess. Can you hear us?
Are you guys here?
Hello.
We're here.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
How are you?
We have
Can't
like
hear.
6 people on this show right now. What's
Hello?
going on?
We've got a chat room open on Spreaker. We're still on a live show. Let's give them some content here.
Wow, out of my
I'm
3
trying to add
years
people on
of radio,
here.
I
Let me
have
see if I can add
never
this.
seen this happen before.
Hello.
Oh, I
How's it going,
can.
Rano?
No, I can see
How
them.
are you tonight? That
Okay,
show is crazy.
we have 7 people on here right now. This is insane.
Okay, let me see if
How
I
did
see
this
myself
happen?
here. Tess, am I with you? Oh, my video.
Jesus.
See what's going on here.
Tess, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Oh
Tess,
my
can you
God.
see me? Hear me?
Yes, doesn't anyone want to see you, Daryl?
See me?
Wow, this is
Tess,
I've never seen this happen before, folks.
we're half on her thing, but I don't think. Can you hear us?
Polar vortex.
All right, since there's 6 people on here, we're gonna have to orchestrate this a little bit. So let me just go ahead and start by saying,
Right now.
hold on,
But I'm looking.
hold on.
Searching.
You
Trying
want
to
someone
fix the
to
sound
talk over
going
you
on.
like we took over Tess?
Please move it.
Hold on,
So,
hold on,
Interesting.
hold on,
por favor.
hold on. Okay,
And
Tessa.
Oh,
can you hear me, Tessa?
Tess, can you hear me?
okay, that sounds
I
good.
can hear you.
Not on this
Here.
separate.
There's a very blurry girl on the left side of
Look
my
at these
screen.
headphones. Hear
Yeah.
you.
Can this is Gigi? Can anybody hear
Oh
Gigi?
my, who are these
Any one of you?
Gigi.
Who?
Yeah, that's I'm blurring. I'm the blurry girl.
All right. Can
Hello?
can
Can you hear
everybody?
me?
Yes,
Can you
we can
hear
all
me?
hear you, but can everybody turn the video off because otherwise the bandwidth is. This is too many people to host this much
Tess
bandwidth.
does a live video call in though. That's her gig.
Yeah, but there's a video mute button right next to the dial pad.
I could mute my video, but you have to mute
All
it.
right, you did it. Tessa, can you hear us?
What is the video?
I hear you. Okay, let me see what's going on.
Everybody turn off your video.
Video?
Sound issue.
Obviously, you do not know the rules of this bit, so you turn yours off and bye-bye. Okay?
No, don't
Not
leave.
everyone does the video. Not
Don't.
everyone does video, but the ones that do video, they enjoy the video. So
See, they do it with video.
Yeah,
GG.
but my show does not have video, so even if your video is on, nobody's going to see it. Do you understand?
well, that's your show, not this one.
They like to use their video, but it's screwing up Gigi's bandwidth.
Okay, well,
I want Sandra back on my screen.
well, it's only Tessa and Guy with the hat. What's your name, Guy with the hat?
Guy with the hat. My
That's
name
Ron.
is Guy.
That's Ron.
Ryan.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I guess we can keep you two on. Everybody else. Wait, who is this?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Oh,
was telling
who's this guy?
Sandra. I wanted to tell you.
I see that middle finger.
There you go.
Don't think
Hey,
I didn't
Robert,
see
yeah.
that.
You'll see more.
Use it.
Wait, who's the who's the middle finger guy?
Yeah, you do.
Who doesn't take crap from people?
What? Well, thank you for donating if you did. But somebody has the show playing in the background, so we're getting some feedback. Does either one of you know which one of you that is?
The
Well,
show.
it's not me, because the Gotham has been paused.
I've
It
got
could have been
perfect
from
sound
Mike.
here right now. Everybody's rolling good.
Actually, I think
don't
yeah,
hear
no,
any echo.
I think we're good now. I think we're good. All right, so Tessa, first of all,
Actually, no, we're not good. Is this Tessa's stream, Skype stream, or are we being broadcasted on somebody's radio show and not being told?
Oh, you're right.
the last
We're on my
the,
Or on a B side of Gigi's Shift Happens, side B, which is a late night show.
yeah, so
So in other words, we're being fucking recorded on a radio show and not being told.
well, I didn't ask for all 6 of you to be here. That was Tessa's fault.
Oh,
She
well.
brought you guys on here. But yes, my name is Gigi. I host a show called Shift Happens
Did
for
you
the Fringe
stream-
FM,
did you
and
stream
this.
Spaced Out Radio during Spaced Out Radio
No.
show.
No,
Tessa.
It
No,
does
didn't.
happen, doesn't it?
Well, if you want to know the answer to your question, you might just want to listen for a second. Yeah, I host a show called Shift Happens, but this is our separate show called B-Sides and Rarities, and we are live right now with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that somehow just came in all of a sudden through Tessa's end. So I'm not sure why you're here.
So in other
Um,
words, your
Get
show
off.
streamed Spaced Out Radio show while Spaced Out Radio was on.
no, we did not.
They weren't there during the show. They weren't there during the show. But I added them on, and then I added everybody else on that I have on the after party usually. So the extra people is my fault because we have certain people that we add on to the after party.
So
So that's my issue. But they didn't do the live stream because they weren't there. I tried to add them several times, but they weren't there. But they're here now. So
Wait, so this is all Daryl's fault.
No, wait a minute.
Carol.
Daryl kind of started it, but then I ran with it.
All right. Well, anyway, so Tessa, I can only imagine how 3 hours. Well, first of all, I noticed that your show got cut after an hour, and it never quite came back on.
It was a Spreaker issue. Generally, it would be Skype, but Spreaker was just spinning and spinning and spinning until I did Facebook Live and I was showing it, and then all of a sudden it decided to work. So I should have done that sooner than later, but yeah, it was totally weird, and it has never happened before, so that was pretty insane. But yeah, we finally got it up and running. So I went basically an extra hour because I have 3 hours for a show.
He's a cutie pie.
Wait,
He's
which
so cute.
side?
There's Gigi.
Yeah, you know, I get that a lot.
I like your
So, but Tessa, so
You've listened to Shift Happens, haven't you? It's a great show. If you
probably
haven't
not.
listened-
guy in a skater toque.
Oh, he
I
knows who I am.
recommend it.
Yeah. Cheers to you.
Gigi's a great host, and he has great guests and great content and good questions and good guests and good audience. Everybody's great.
Well, that really highly depends on who you ask, but some people think that, right? Yeah.
I love him. I love it.
Now,
And I like it much better than Cats.
So, Tessa, I have to ask you, despite the technical issue, why the fuck is my camera like not centering? All right, there it goes. So I have to ask you, you just did 3 hours with Neil. What do you have to say about that? I knew it. Yeah, see, we can't hear Tessa.
Oh, here I go. Sorry, I was muted. Okay, so I've had him call in several times, and he actually said the F-bomb like 4 times in a row, and he's like, hang up on him, and I'm like, wait, I got this, and I got it under control, but yeah, he dropped the F-bomb, and we're on 2 terrestrial stations, so that was a total, like, catastrophe. But I've talked to him offline, online, and he's got a different perspective, and I have this kind of internal Magneto thing going on where I can sense the truth, I can sense falsehoods, and I know that he is speaking the truth. It's hard to grasp for some people because it's hard for us to go outside of the realm of our own thinking. And to me, he doesn't stall, doesn't try to think about things like other people who are trying to make up a story do. He's actually going along with the flow, like, so quickly. Like, this is internal knowledge to him. This is things that he knows, and I know he is speaking the truth to me, and it's hard for people to grasp it because it is outside of the realm of our thinking, but I think he's being honest and truthful.
You know, I have to agree with you.
Part of Joe Roop's Lighting the Void.
Mm-hmm.
What about Joe?
Is Shift Happens part of Joe Roop's Lighting the Void?
Yeah, we're on the same network. We're on the same network, the Fringe FM.
With Joe Roop.
Yeah.
Tessa?
Is that a problem?
No, I love Joe, and I'm so sad that Joe and Dave split ways, but I understand what's going on, and since they did split ways, I haven't listened to Joe's show, even though it's so tempting to me. I haven't gone there because I'm still a part of this team, but I do love Joe, and I know he has so much knowledge that he's trying to share, and everything he shares, I do embrace, but I haven't been able to talk to him since, I think it was about, April, hold on.
Yeah, well,
June last year or so on and so forth, and I saw you come on, and I was like, man, I wish I could listen to this, but I can't because I'm crossing lines, like espionage or whatever. But I've been following what you guys are doing, and I have not disconnected myself as far as the chat goes, and I'm following things, and I don't put anything negative towards that or anything positive. I'm kind of like neutral, and watching what you guys are doing, and you guys are doing an epic, awesome job, and I just enjoy the fact that, okay, when I first found Dave and Joe and Elizabeth, you guys are sharing a certain knowledge and things that people don't really know, and so what can I do to help spread this? So I helped doing the YouTube thing, sharing the YouTube page, archives. It took me forever over here. Once I went to Phoenix, it was like months in a row. When I was here, it was like 4 to 5 days in a row. But yeah, I did that, and then I was booking for Joe, and then Dave asked me to do the show for Elizabeth on Sundays, and then Joe quit, and so I started doing his show, and that was in May. I've been doing that ever since, but it was so sad to me to see them fall apart. But you are doing an awesome job sharing your perspective, and it's just sharing knowledge, and people don't get to know these things unless they listen to shows like this. And I support everybody that's doing this and trying to share this wealth of information, because it really is a wealth. Like, tuning into these things, you're learning so many different things, and you're getting this plethora or wealth of information. Drink, he goes through the plethora thing.
Yeah, and listen, I do have to agree with you. I feel like, first of all, it was, I remember, I've been with the Fringe for about 2 years, and I opened up for Dave for about 2 years. Every single time we went on, we opened up for him, and I loved his show. We all loved his show, but what really happened, just to keep it very simple and very friendly, is the Fringe FM is very much a family sort of thing, and Dave just, whether positive or negative, it doesn't really matter. It's just he didn't agree with everything that we were about. And so that's why he split off. It's not like he got fired, and it's not like he quit. It's sort of a mutual, just a mutual understanding of, we're just trying to do some different things. But at the same time, like you just said, we're really all doing the same thing, whether it's KGRA, Dark Matter, the Fringe FM, what have you. Like I was just saying earlier on my show, I think it's very important for everybody to hear all angles of every situation, of every story. And the more different opinions you get, the more clear it becomes what really is going on at the bottom of the truth, basically. So,
what actually happened was Joe didn't believe that Dave had backing, which he did. He got like $50,000 worth of backing. I haven't seen any of that, but I haven't asked for anything, because I just want to propel it and spread the word, so on and so forth. And they had this kind of falling out because Joe didn't believe he had backing. He did. He built a studio off of this funding that he got, but it's just different perspectives, different things going on, and it was sad to me because they're both amazing, wonderful people spreading the word, and it did. I cried about it. I was just like, how are you guys not still together in the same boat? But it's just like crashing waves or whatever on each side of the boat.
Yeah,
that's how it happened.
I see your timeout, sir, but I'm gonna have to pre-opt your timeout. So I did hear about that, and I've heard both sides of the story, but once again, I've got to relate it back to the whole family thing. Here's one of the main problems was, I don't think I should be talking about this on the radio, but whatever. We're
not on the radio. We're on the Skype after party, so anything goes here. Like, I can talk about my movies or, whatever goes on. But yeah, anything goes here, and we're not on the radio. We're on the Skype after party, so this is just between us who are here. We're not broadcasting it anywhere.
Anyway, I will just tell you the Fringe side of the story. I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just saying that this is what I heard. We had some pretty, technological savages look into his numbers, and it turns out Dave was lying massively about the numbers he was reaching, about the money he was making. But really what it came down to was the Fringe FM had a change of operation, which was, if you're going to be on the Fringe, you can't be on other networks. So ultimately, Dave decided to do his own thing rather than be secluded to the Fringe FM, which I can understand, because
Fringe and SOR were in the same boat.
Yeah, we were for 2 years. Yeah, absolutely. In fact,
Dave was doing his thing, and Dave was doing their thing, and they were kind of collaging together, and they were spreading the word in equal amounts. But
yeah, they
then
were.
things kind of went haywire, like the waves started crashing too much or whatever. But yeah.
Well, it was really just a business thing. It was, the Fringe FM changed their contract with all of us, which I agreed to, but obviously Dave didn't. And the contract was you can't be on another network if you're on our network. And Dave decided to not be on our network, rather, in pursuit of what he's doing now, which is there's nothing wrong with that. That's just pure business. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's no cold blood between the Fringe FM, as far as I know. Certainly between me, because like I said, I opened up for Dave for 2 years in a row, and I promoted his show every single week. And there's no cold blood there. It's just it's just a regular business decision. He just did what he thought was best, and we, respected that. And so I don't think there's really no hard blood, or cold blood rather, between Dave and the Fringe FM. It's just a friendly parting of, just like band members, just like bands, some bands, they break up, they don't hate each other, they just, they have different paths that they want to take, and I think that's really the same thing that happened here. So I'm very glad to clear this up and let everybody know that there's no hard feelings between us and Dave, and we wish Dave all the best. And honestly, I can't even man, I barely put together one show a week. I can't imagine doing 7 shows a week. Are you serious? 24 hours, 7 days a week? Get the fuck out of here. I can't believe he can even pull that off.
4 hours.
So, congratulations to him. All props and salutes. All props and salutes to Dave.
Because you can't get the East Coast. You get nobody on the East Coast because your show starts at 4 a.m. out in the Atlantic, out in the Maritimes, right? But it's 11 p.m. Saskatchewan. It's 4:30 in Nova Scotia. Who the hell is going to listen to your show at 4:30 in Nova Scotia? It's like at 11 p.m. in Nova Scotia and 4 p.m. in Saskatchewan. You might get a lot more listeners.
Well, I think when it comes to Dave's listenership, I don't think, whether it's live or not, I think he has enough of a following to where even if they can't listen live, they're going to listen to the replay the next day, right?
I can't type live to a podcast. That's the only reason I like Dave's show in the first place for the last 4 years, and Tessa's for, 6 months now. And it's because we can interact and chat. If I have to listen to some dumb podcast, well, I can do that on CBC radio and listen to other stuff instead of some crazy, show I can't talk to. Even though I listen to the live shows on CBC, and I can talk to the new show guy has a Twitter account, and so I tweet to him, and he reads my tweets live sometimes on his noon show. He's only got an hour. He gets a handful of tweets. If he likes mine, he'll read it. And that's what I like. It's interaction and it's live. Right? It's not days ago's news of a podcast or 7 months ago or last year's podcast.
Right.
There's 10 million billion podcasts to listen to, and